Alright, so before I get into this Bernie Sanders tweet, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge two things that have happened to me recently, and two quite awesome people who have gone above and beyond in helping me out, who I am very, very grateful for. Number one is this YouTube channel, Random Rants of Ryan, which is on screen here. He made a video about my channel and said some very kind words about my content and urged his subscribers to follow and subscribe to me on Twitter and YouTube. And it's funny, he has 30,000 subs, and because of his video, I got more subscribers in the past 12 hours than I generally get in an average 2-month period. So that is both awesome and kind of sad at the same time, but that's okay. But actually, in his video, he points out that I have 2 Twitter accounts, which leads me to my next point. There was a Twitter user named Childfree Libertarian who, over the past 2 years or so, has been unbelievably kind to me and very supportive, and would retweet almost all my videos and just be a downright cool dude to me. And he had a little more than 5,000 followers on Twitter, and he said he had his reasons, but he was leaving that Twitter handle behind, and if I wanted to take it over and make it my own, then he would hand it over to me. So, that's the reason I have 2 Twitter accounts. I'm still active on both, and yeah, Random Rants of Ryan and Childfree Libertarian. I really just can't express I can't express enough how grateful I am for how awesome you both have been to me. If I ever become a filthy rich person, you're both on my list of people to shovel money at, so deal with it. So anyway, on to the video. Bernie Sanders, again with his tweets, in which he correctly identifies a problem but fails spectacularly at identifying the cause of the problem or coming up with any decent solution. He says the economy is rigged because the wages of the top 1% have gone up 19%, the medium wages have only increased by 2%, and minimum wage has gone down by 17%. Now he's right. The economy is rigged, no question about that. But as we all know, Sanders routinely places blame in the wrong place, and it's unfortunate because for a limited time, Sanders was actually on the right path when he worked with Ron Paul to audit the monetary aspects of the Federal Reserve, but then he backtracked and gutted that part of the audit, which would have exposed exactly what the Fed was specifically doing. So Bernie Sanders bears much of the responsibility for the very institution responsible for the wealth disparity we see in the U.S. It's the Cantillon effect. The Fed creates new money and injects it into the economy through the credit markets, through giving out huge loans at nearly 0% interest rates to politically connected corporations and big businesses. Those businesses get to use that currency before it circulates through the economy, and before that increase in the money supply causes the value of the dollar to go down and for the prices around you to go up. That money enters your wallet long after those executives got to use that freshly created, more valuable currency. So is the game rigged, Bernie Sanders? Of course it is. And you were in a position to expose how rigged it was and get some public support behind fixing that problem, but you lost your spine, and now you come to us screaming about a revolution and how Wall Street and the rich don't care about us. And maybe that's true, but I don't really care if it is true because that doesn't really affect me. But what does affect me are the market distortions and the devaluations of the U.S. currency, all done by institutions that you, Bernie Sanders, let off the hook. So the other funny thing about this tweet is that Sanders mentions the minimum wage. Of course he wants the federal minimum wage increased. I don't think he realizes that every time he says this, the CEOs and executives of America smile. If you remember a few years ago, the former CEO of McDonald's called for a federal minimum wage increase to $15 an hour. Everyone was left scratching their head wondering why he's calling for this minimum wage increase when he himself does not pay the employees of McDonald's $15 an hour. Well, the reason is because it's not about McDonald's, it's about their smaller competitors. He knew that if the federal government raised the minimum wage, all of McDonald's smaller competitors would go the way of the dinosaur. There would be no way to compete with McDonald's. McDonald's can afford to automate, and whoever's left over, they would be able to afford the $15 minimum wage. And they'd really be able to afford it after they ate the entire market up because of the government nuking the whole market, making it impossible for smaller businesses to even survive. So all in all, I don't think Bernie Sanders understands just how much he makes the big businesses and the big banks in the U.S. salivate. But that's all for now. Like, sub, and share this video. And again, a big thank you to Random Rants of Ryan and Childfree Libertarian, and you all take it easy.